Good morning, my name is Alison Whiteman, Floral Designer here at Rogers Gardens. We are in the farmhouse gazebo and I'm going to show you how to bring some floral trends into your home. The first floral trend that we're going to show you this morning is a desert Navajo inspired theme, and then we're going to transition that into the really popular jade green trend that's happening right now as well. So what I'm going to show you is how to start with one trend and then switch it over to something else with just a few changes. So the first flower that I'm going to put in this vase is white hydrangea. I'm going to make a couple snips here. I left it really long because this vase is pretty tall and the white hydrangea is going to kind of act as our base. I chose this container because of the kind of taupe off-white color, and I like that it has a lot of texture on the outside. Going to get rid of some of these stems, cut on an angle so that it slides into the side of the vase. Now we have the hydrangea placed kind of in a triangle pattern. Next, we're going to bring in some more texture. So I have some blue thistle. Again, we're going to kind of cut that on an angle. We're going to use the hydrangea as a web, kind of stick that in between some of the pieces there. Then we have a Chablis spray rose. So it's kind of a soft peachy color. I'm going to pick off some of the outer petals here. And we're going to put these in the front. Strip off the leaves. Again, pulling off some of the outer petals that don't look so good. We're going to create this cluster here. Again, using the hydrangea as a grid and leaving the stems nice and long to go down all the way to the bottom of the vase. To bring in some seasonal flowers, we're going to use some peach foxglove. This is kind of going to go with the peach tones over here. We're going to put these in the back for some height. We're going to use the curve of the foxglove to give some movement to the arrangement. The foxglove does have some thicker stems, so just make sure that you kind of clean them up. You can use your floral knife to kind of shave down the sides so that it slides in smooth. We're going to use a few more pieces of thistle. Again, we're sort of making a grouped pattern here. Going to have these Chablis over here, the foxglove over here, and then the thistle will fill out this side of the piece. We're going to start to brighten it up now a little bit with some fancy tulips. Again, we're going to kind of shave these down. They cut real easily. And we're going to slide these into the front of the arrangement. The tulips will grow the longer they're in the container, so it's okay if they're a little shorter than you want them to be for the first day or so because they will grow. I like to peel off some of the outer leaves because you don't really need those, and then again shave that down. Sometimes you can kind of bend them a little bit as well, not too hard because they might break, but once you kind of shave them down a little bit, they become a little more pliable. You can kind of bend them to get more of a curve. So we're going to put them in the front there. And then because these tulips are pretty straight, which is nice, we're going to put a few in the back too. Again, shave them down. And this is going to start to bring a little more warmth to the arrangement. And it'll pick up on the peach color of the spray rose and the foxglove, and it'll balance out the soft blue of the hydrangea and the thistle. Again, we're going to darken things up a little bit, and I have some burgundy gypsy dianthus. And these we're going to kind of nestle in here. Next, we have some larger ranunculus, again bringing in some more flowers that are seasonal right now. These ones are a little daintier, so I like to kind of put them in towards the end so that the other flowers can brace them and hold them up. That's kind of a soft ashy color there, and a little bit of yellow. And lastly, what I'm going to put in here are some larger pieces of pussy willow. Any seasonal branch is nice for some height, and you can kind of get something blooming there, which is good. So add a little more natural feel to it as well. And again, we'll continue with a little bit of that soft feel. And these are a different variety of ranunculus. They're called butterfly ranunculus. And we're gonna put these over here to soften this side of the piece. So our completed desert style look includes some textures, again with the thistle and the vase, some softer subdued colors, and then also some brighter colors as well to really create a pop. Again, the textures of the container make you feel like you're really outside, especially if you're visiting Palm Springs. You can definitely feel like you're a part of nature. Now we're going to switch to our Jade Emerald trend. Think of it as switching from day to night. So we're going to kind of put aside our easy breezy, light desert feel. We're going to switch to something a little heavier, a little rich, a little more lush. So we're going to use a lot of greenery and a lot of texture. So the first thing we're going to start with, because it's really, really leafy, is some chocolate geranium. I really like this for a couple reasons. It feels really nice. It has a nice fragrance as well. And it has two-tone foliage, so you get the green and the dark chocolate color. So some of these pieces are really large. I'm going to kind of take them apart. And we're going to stuff this vase. Leave some on the bottom to trail out, and then another larger piece up top to give you some height. I have a couple types of ferns. This is a sea star fern. Then we have an umbrella fern. And lastly, we have an Australian tree fern. So we're going to use a couple different things in a couple different ways. So these are light and airy. So we're going to stick those towards the bottom to create a larger space there than the vase creates. And the umbrella fern is a little bit thicker. So we're going to keep those together. You can kind of base them together and it creates a full 360 there. We're going to put them more on this side in the back. If you stuff them kind of down farther, they'll sort of pinch up and create a thicker breadth of green. Next, we're going to add some green hydrangea. We're going to tuck these in kind of in a diamond pattern. One more. So one in the front, two on the sides, and one more in the back. Just going to help balance the piece and give sort of like a backing to some of the larger foliage. So next we have some monstera. That's pretty thick, so we're going to kind of cut that down. He's going to go in the front. You can kind of move the greenery over and around each other. So now I've sort of tucked it under, and that sea star fern is now on top of the monstera. We're going to get into some of our Australian tree fern here. Stick that in the back, again layering it on top of the umbrella fern. want to strip this down. You don't really want too many of the leaves in the water. That's something to watch out for when you're making a piece that contains mostly greenery. To create some movement, we're going to add some eucalyptus. We're going to kind of tuck that in all over. A little bit in the front, a little bit in the middle. And some more in the back. Again, make sure you're leaving the greens at different heights so that it creates a more interesting look. And kind of fan it out as well. Lastly, I'm going to add in some Deflexis. What's really nice about this is it's long and it has a real trailing feel to it. Because the vase is so tall, we're going to kind of tuck this in around the outside. And it's going to help to soften the height of the container. And this stuff's fairly flexible, so don't be afraid to kind of bend it as you put it in. Make sure it's getting down in there in the water, and then you can kind of bend it down so that it flows out. Our Jade Emerald trend can be very lush, opulent, and rich, but can also be very gardeny and tropical. So that's what's nice about this, is you can kind of do it either way. You can cut things from your garden. Magnolia leaves, which are nice, they have the two different tones. And then again, you can also cut some of your larger tropical leaves as well, and you can be gardeny or tropical. Our third look is the blue and white trend, and we're going to kind of do a different twist on it. A lot of the blue and white pieces tend to have an Asian inspiration. We're going to take it in a little different direction. We're going to use a more natural ceramic pot. So again, we're going to start with our traditional white hydrangea. This arrangement's a little shorter, so we're going to kind of make the bottom of the stem flat so that it can sit on the bottom of the vase. I'm going to put two kind of down low. Then I have some antique variegated hydrangea. It's really, really pretty tone here. And we're going to go like that. Sometimes you have to kind of move the hydrangea around so that the different sides fit in with each other, kind of like a puzzle. Okay, so those are in there like that. Next, we're going to use some delphinium, again, which is seasonal right now. Strip off what you can. These are a little short. I cut them from the garden, don't tell. I like the delphinium because they kind of naturally have variegation to them. They're all a little darker blue or a little lighter lavender. They're not really one true color, so they can kind of be blue or purple. We're going to stick one down here. I have a couple darker purple. We're going to keep them together. And we're also going to keep them a little longer. I'm going to kind of put them on the other side. So I have a grouping of the softer colors over here. And then in the back is going to be the grouping of sort of the darker colors. Put the longer one in the back and the shorter one in the middle. And next we're going to use some anemones. I have a couple different colors here. I have a really opened purple one. Then I have a kind of blush and white with the black eye. And then I have a more straight white with the black eye. So these we're going to kind of cluster together. Again, this is a very more traditional style arrangement, using just a couple elements to create a real simple feeling. You want to leave one or two just a little high so that it kind of matches here with your delphinium. So now with just a few small tweaks and changes, we're going to take our traditional blue and white arrangement and turn it into a more trendy boho bright arrangement. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this single statement here, put it back in our vase. I'm going to bring in some brighter colored ranunculus. Pop a few of those in there. Again, make them different heights. I'm going to take this hydrangea out of here, put him to the side. So now we're going to add some softer colors in. We're going to use a peach finesse rose, which I really like because even though it's a regular rose, it has a higher petal count. It kind of looks like a garden rose. And then we're going to use some ruffled ranunculus, again, flowers of the season, which I like. We're going to kind of do these all together in here. You can cut them short so they're kind of sitting together. We'll put 3 of them in there. He's a little too tall. We're going to cut him down. I like to leave the guard petals on. Not everybody enjoys them, but I think they really add some different texture and kind of different look to the flower. So again, I prefer to leave them on. Kind of tuck that guy down in there. And now we're going to add some more color to the larger piece. Do a couple different lengths here. I like to do one kind of shorter, closer in, and one longer so it really looks like it's coming out of the arrangement. Next, we're going to use some mini gerbs. Again, I like the two-tone color on these with the yellow centers. And I like that these have a smaller head compared to some of the other flowers that we're using. Kind of makes it feel a little daintier, even though they have a really different look to them. And part of the boho style here is just really an unarranged feeling. So don't be afraid to kind of have things come out at different heights, different levels. These are a Sonora spray rose. This is really going to change the entire look of the piece. So again, one kind of down low, another longer one coming out. And this is when you'll really start to see the change in the look of the piece. We're going to add some more of these orange ranunculus. Ranunculus are nice because they have a lot of smaller buds, and I like to use the whole stem. So kind of peel off some of these leaves. Try to keep it in one piece if you can so it slides in the arrangement better. But again, you have all these nice buds that are fun as well. I'm going to kind of put these over here. Again, a little farther out. And they're going to kind of blend with this reddish color over here. This one's long as well. Going to leave that one kind of floating out. Again, we're using the hydrangea as our grid. Do a couple more of the mini gerbs on this side. And these are a personal favorite. They're still starting to open. They're tiger's eye anemones, and they are so nice and big. And they start, where's my other one? They start like this. They look kind of small, but then once they open, you can really see how large they get. So they like to put on a really big show. So we're going to kind of make them move some of these smaller ones from before out of the way. And we're going to kind of layer these in as the star of our show here. Let's add another ruffled ranunculus in our larger piece. Here. And again, don't forget to put something in the back of your arrangement. Here, we'll actually put him over here. That way, if your piece is up against a mirror, you can kind of see a little bit of the back too, and it's not just your greenery or just kind of one big piece of hydrangea. And he can be a little taller too. That way you can still see him from the front. And we'll clean up these tulips here. I really like these, the bicolor, a little bit of frill, and they kind of mimic the color scheme of these mini gerbs here. That's kind of why I like them. So we're going to stick them over here, again, to kind of fill in this color wheel on that side. And the tulips, again, are going to grow, so you can leave them long or short, and they'll just keep the movement of your arrangement going as you enjoy it. I'm going to put a few in the back here, again, because they'll kind of go with the length of these delphinium. Again, you can kind of shave off the tulips so that they, again, you can kind of bend them. And he's a little tall, so we can stick him up here. And now we have our trendy boho look. So again, the boho style is definitely more unarranged. You have the bright colors mixed with some of the more muted colors, and you kind of get a little more of a wildflower look, but at the same time, also very fun and vibrant. Rogers Gardens brings beauty into your home and garden. Thanks for watching.